We want to welcome all of you up to the stage now. Please come on forward. We do have an awards ceremony, just so you know. And I'd like for all to introduce yourself, if it's all right, just briefly to this audience, because while we have an awards ceremony that will specifically point out winners, none of you are losers. You are all excellent. Please, yeah. And we're just so excited to have you all. Just stay standing, maybe, if you wouldn't mind, because I think there's going to be more than 8 of you here. Hi, I'm not. So I'm not sure what Jean-Christophe did with the last microphone. It's in your pocket. You're taking it back to France. Melissa has it. So what we're going to do is we're going to, once everyone gets up here, we're going to take the microphone and would you please introduce yourself and the film that you had screened in the Fort Myers Film Festival.
Hi, my name is Marina Bezhkovskaya. My film is titled For Fear of Coffee, and it was screened yesterday.
Hi, my name is Sharon Smith, and I was an actress, and I did makeup on a film called Marriage Fit.
Ooh.
Your Marriage Fit screened Saturday at 2 p.m. in the Comedy Block. I'm Rob Danini with Marriage Fit. Thank you.
Maybe tell us where you're from too, because I think it's of interest that we have you guys coming from all over.
I'm from Boston, Massachusetts.
I'm from Boston and LA, bi-coastal.
I'm originally from Russia, from St. Petersburg, but I do live in Florida now, so I'm going back and forth.
There you go.
Hi, my name is Landon Satterfield. I'm the editor on The New Abolitionists, and I'm from Los Angeles, California.
Woo.
Hi, my name is Peter Alexander. My film is The Last Weekend, and I'm from Fort Lauderdale.
Hi, I'm Kate DeGentis, and my film is Pull Into Paradise, and I'm coming from New York City.
My name is Erica Yeomans. I directed Pose Down, I showed last night, and another documentary called The Bachelors of Broken Hill Farm. Born in Fort Myers, live in New York.
Hi, my name is Anna Honorata. My movie was Flowers, screened yesterday. I'm originally from Poland, so this panel today means a lot to me, and now living in Naples.
I'm C Schulberg, and I wrote, produced, and directed a documentary for Calusa Waterkeeper called Eternal Vigilance that screened on Friday, and our president is here, and our treasurer is here, and our past president, Tim Gibson, is here. Please continue watching.
I'm Georgia. I wrote, produced, edited, music supervised, and did a lot of the marketing for Still Green, which screened last night. And hey, if you haven't, hang out with a lighter, I left a ton in the lobby. Take one, keep one, it opens bottles too, for your water and your candles.
And just as again mentioned, we are so honored to play or screen your films here at the Fort Myers Film Festival. You are all to be celebrated tonight, even if you don't go home with a little trophy. Let's give it up for all the filmmakers of 2021 Fort Myers Film Festival. Speaking of trophies, the hardware is coming out, and we're about to start our awards ceremony. Having 60 films screened this year, it's difficult. Again, there was so much to offer, and we enjoyed every minute. And before we get into the 7 categories, which are, we're going to be awarding features, documentaries, shorts, environmental films, and student films. We are going to offer a very special award to start off. It's a Lifetime Filmmaker Achievement Award. The Fort Myers Film Festival is awarding C Schulberg with a Lifetime Filmmaker Achievement Award. We recognize you and your family's 100-year accomplishments in film during this year's festival. Casey is a noted Southwest Florida community organizer and filmmaker, tracing his start in the film business to appearing as an extra at the age of 5 in his father's and uncle's 1958 movie, Wind Across the Everglades. His start in social activism as the youngest 16-year-old Marshal, serving at the Poor People's Campaign and March on Washington in 1968. Throughout his film career, working on more than 200 films, miniseries, and movies for television, Casey has kept his finger on the pulse of social justice issues, helping produce a 1985 benefit concert for the homeless, starring Kid Creole and the Coconuts, with poster by Keith Haring at the Roxy in New York City. Producing a peace concert with Richie Havens, marking the 50th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima, and organizing countless workshops, marches, screenings, and street protests with Collier Freedom locally since 2017. Casey is a third-generation filmmaker. His grandfather ran Paramount Studios from 1927 to 1935, producing, yes, hundreds of movies, including this first film to win an Oscar, Wings, in 1927. His uncle, Bud Shelbert, wrote the screenplay for the Oscar-winning On the Waterfront, starring Marlon Brando. His grandmother, Ad Shelbert, founded the first female-run talent agency in Hollywood. His father directed and produced the numerous films and television programs, including the closing night movie at this year's festival, Nuremberg, It's Lesson for Today. Today, as executive director of local clean water nonprofit Calusa Waterkeeper, Casey has combined his dual passions for film and activism by producing and directing 3 documentaries for Calusa Waterkeeper, including Eternal Vigilance and 2 others. So there's 3. I missed the other. Yeah. Okay. So we just want to. We want to honor you with this award. Let's congratulate Casey Schulberg, everyone.
Eric, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this recognition. Thank you, folks. That's really nice of you. Thank you, Eric. Really appreciate that. Filmmaking, as you know, is a team effort. It's not a solo endeavor. Any movie that's made is made with a whole lot of people. So I want to recognize a couple members of my team. Inda Roya, who's made 6 movies in France, including the United States, and is halfway through her 8th movie, I guess. My sister Sandra Schulberg, who's done so much extraordinary things in the film industry, and is now running Indie Connect. She's sort of trying to single-handedly save independent cinema movies that are being lost because people are converting from film to digital, and those film cans in all those labs across the country are kind of in danger of being lost forever. So she's single-handedly restoring them and bringing them back. Our friend Jean-Christophe, childhood friend of mine, and his son Ruben. My long-standing friends, Ray, Gaspard, and Bridget, who are here, and so many friends and family. I also want to recognize our forebears, because as Eric mentioned, my grandfather was in the business, and he ran Paramount. He was considered an intellectual at the time because he had a library, and the ham-fisted Jack Warner basically never read, so he was sort of an outlier. And my grandmother, Ad, who was a progressive, started the first Montessori school in Los Angeles, and started her own female talent agency, which became very successful. An amazing progressive woman. My grandmother, I owe a lot to her. My father, Stuart, who you heard something about tonight, had a long career and always instilled in us a sense of striving for social justice and trying to better the world if we can through our skills and through our media and through our filmic endeavors. It's really important to keep elevating the conversation and trying to improve the world to the best we can. My Uncle Bud, who's had really a celebrated career on the waterfront and some famous novels. And then, our generation, my sister's involved. I've got nieces who are involved in the film business. My daughter, who's due to arrive in about an hour from LA. Of course, she's arriving for the party, right? And so she's a 4th generation filmmaker in our family. I'm really proud of her endeavors. She's off to a great start. So it's a team effort, and it takes a team to get anything done.
And I hope that you'll all get engaged and get messages out and keep working to improve try to improve the common weal. We need to do that. There's a lot of work to be done. So thank you very much.
The podium does not have enough light. It needs to move over, says Leslie. Better? Is this better? We still got the audio from Casey's acceptance speech, right? We have a couple more awards to give away, but before we do, I was thinking along the same lines of you, Casey, when you were thanking your sister and mentioning your whole family. So we also want to give away an honorary award to Sandra here tonight and the whole Shelbert family, if you would accept. Back to New York without an award, huh?
Oh my gosh, well, listen, thank you all for putting up with so much Schulberg stuff today. And Eric, thank you for inviting us all here today. And I want to just say a final thank you to Jean-Christophe Klutz, because this is actually only the third time I've seen the movie. And I'm amazed at how much, I was so frustrated because I thought, we can't really tell this very complicated story in 52 minutes. But each time I watch the film, I realize you got so much more into it than I at first realized. And all of the little seeds are there. It's really a testament, Jean-Christophe. Merci infiniment. C'est très très bien fait. Merci.
Thank you, Sandra. We're also giving away a very special award tonight. We're going to give away a Humanitarian award to Dr. Robert Hilliard. And before we do, I want to introduce to the stage Ellen Nair and journalist and columnist for the Florida Weekly, Roger Williams. Are you guys here? Oh, come on up. Who will be introducing our Humanitarian award for Dr. Robert Hilliard. Ella, Roger, maybe ladies first. Ladies first.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you all. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you, Eric. Oh my God, this was amazing, beautiful, and very stirring in every way that we need to see it. I spend most of my days and time working with Holocaust-related work, like younger than you would think for doing this kind of work, but it's important because all of us that's in the audience now that is a little younger, we have to carry on the work. And thank God we have people like Bob Hilliard and Cesare, who's going to be here. That's who I'm going to speak for. He's a Holocaust survivor, and he normally attends most events that we do at Lab Theater. And he couldn't make it today, but he's a child survivor, spent his days on the streets because his mom sent him there so he didn't get liquidated. And his story is unbelievable, and he lived, and he tells the story regularly. Cesare Versace. And if you want to hear more of these kind of stories, we'll be doing several at Laboratory Theater throughout the year, where you'll get to see survivors, liberators, and you'll get to go and hear from the people who actually experienced it. And we can all do this together, because we're all connected, so thank you, everybody.
I'm Roger Williams, and it's an honor to be here and put up with all the Schulberg stuff. And with Dr. Robert L. Hilliard, who is part of that Schulberg stuff. I'm wearing this hat because it was born in Brooklyn, like Dr. Hilliard and the Schulbergs, who came from New York City. I want to begin by thanking his wife and fellow humanitarian, Joanne Reese Hilliard, who's here, his two children, Mark and Mara, for inspiring him, and his father and mother for traveling a long damn way to bring Dr. Robert L. Hilliard into the American world. His father, Irving, came from Russia in 1908 with $1, and his mother arrived a decade later from Paris, and Bob was born in Brooklyn. Now, I'm especially grateful to his mother, Ida Littman Levine, because in addition to loving him, he's told me, she also made him feel like he'd never really done quite enough, he'd never accomplished enough, which may be why he published last month the latest of his more than 40 books, nonfiction and fiction, and a number of plays. This one, his third volume, poetry, titled A Ticket to Auschwitz, Moments in Time. Now, if you grow easily dizzy, hang on to your seat for a minute, because I'm going to spin quickly through some of the points in his life. He's 95, he'll be 96 on June 25th. So I'm going to go. To write all those books, he had to grow up in a small flat above his parents' Brooklyn shop in a heavily immigrant neighborhood where there was plenty of racial and religious prejudice. He had to join the army at 18 and survive World War II, which he did barely. He had to work in theater as a professional actor and a writer in Cleveland and New York, where he also worked as a drama and film critic while earning his PhD from Columbia University. He had to lose his first job as a young professor at Adelphi University for refusing to honor, with the other faculty, the German rocket scientist Werner von Braun. He had to work in Washington, where he became chief of public broadcasting. He became chief of public broadcasting for the Federal Communications Division. And ultimately, he served as Dean of Graduate Studies and Continuing Education, a professor, and now Professor Emeritus, living on Sanibel, of Media Arts from Emerson College in Boston. A few words about Dr. Hilliard's war, as I'm referring to World War II. As a 19-year-old U.S. Army private in the 2nd Infantry Division, and unfortunately for him, a forward observer, he found himself advancing against the Germans in late December of 1944 when they counterattacked at the Battle of the Bulge. Wounded badly and unable to rejoin his company for the push, really the push to the Rhine as the Germans retreated. 19,000 American dead in that 5-week period. Dr. Hilliard was reassigned to the 2nd Air Disarmament Wing of the Army's 9th Corps, charged with dismantling the German Air Force. And that included taking prisoners, finding contraptions that they had and used, and rounding them up. So he was stationed southwest of Munich at a former Luftwaffe base. And because in high school he'd written mostly sports stories for local newspapers to make money, and in a brief college start before the Army, he'd been a college newspaper editor, they tasked him with producing the base newspaper, the second Wing Eagle, and he even had a printing press to go with that deal. So it got him a pass. He was able to wander the countryside looking for stories, and he recounts all of those details in his book, Surviving the Americans, the continued struggle of the Jews after liberation. Refugees, so-called displaced persons, were wandering the road, dying on the road. They'd somehow managed to survive the camps, and at a place called St. Lutillian's Monastery, they had been, as they had elsewhere, pushed into the camp and put behind barbed wire by American troops so they'd get off the roads. And on May 27th, 20 days after the Germans surrendered on May 7th, Bob arrived at the camp for a liberation concert of classical musicians that had been banned, and he saw 400 living survivors of Buchenwald and Dachau, I think. Was it Dachau, Bob? Yeah. And they were hardly in shape to do anything. The Americans at the time and the British were keeping these people on about 750 calories a day. I eat, as you can tell, about 750 calories every other hour, and these people were trying to survive after years in the camps on 750 a day. So he was horrified rather than feeling joy. American troops were told to stay away from the refugees, stay away from the camps. He and his friend from Philadelphia, Private Edward Herman, began to steal food from a mess hall, and they snuck it into the camp with supplies and began to try to help these people at risk of themselves, court-martialed. And ultimately that wasn't enough. So Bob wrote a paper. He's later described as purple prose, but it was a letter. And he and Ed Herman ran off 600 copies by night on the base printing press, had them mailed to the United States, to friends, family, synagogues, churches, YMCAs, asking Americans for help for these people. Americans provided it. 40, 50-pound boxes of goods arriving on the docks in Brooklyn. And ultimately a copy of that letter reached Harry Truman, who did an investigation, discovered this was true, and ordered an end to it. This, for a 19-year-old private, the age of my son, who's sitting in the back of the room, Nash, for a 19-year-old private, it's sort of extraordinary, but this headline appeared on the front page of the Times, September 30th, 1945. Front page. President orders Eisenhower to end new abuse of Jews, likens our treatment to that of Nazis. So while the Schulbergs were fighting the government in a sense to try to educate Americans and not succeeding, this was happening, and the New York Times was reporting it. 57 years later, in 2002, the filmmaker John Miklasik, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, made a 46-minute documentary narrated by Studs Terkel, based on Dr. Hilliard's memoir, and if you ever want to see that, it's called Displaced, Miracle at St. Ottilien. It's pretty powerful. Bob, among those many books, is one that he calls, it's one about Hollywood, and it describes, let me find the title and get this right for you here. And if I don't find the title, I'll just describe the book. Okay, I don't see it here. The book describes a history of Hollywood as a do-good place and do-good films, and it really details how in American cinema and the work of Hollywood, often they aren't aimed at doing any good for anybody, and on occasion they are. And Bob writes this in the introduction to the book. No amount of rationale can absolve Hollywood from its failure to make a single picture about the World War II Nazi Holocaust, the deliberate and systematic murder of at least 11 million people while the Holocaust was happening. Not one film while the Holocaust was happening. Decades later, Hollywood made numerous films about the Holocaust, too late to influence the world to try to stop that genocide. The only Hollywood movie that dealt with the plight of the Jews and with concentration camps, and though it was made before the death camps of the Final Solution, was Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator in 1940. And Chaplin had a hard time making the film, producing it, and getting it distributed. Okay, I'm about to wrap this up, but Bob wrote me the other day and he asked me, what is this award? Why am I getting this award? And, Humanitarian Award. And, for one thing, it's because Eric Raddatz, who understands challenges of the heart and mind, also sees art as action and pleasure, and turns out to be a moralist at heart, like you, Bob. It's true. Eric's a showman. Eric's a showman. The guy he doesn't look like a moralist, does he? But he is. Of Polish stock, by the way, for those of you who come from Poland or appreciate Poland like I do. So that's one reason. But really, I told Bob there's no one else like him. You're the only person alive in Lee County and in the state of Florida, and as far as I know, on the North American continent, who A, personally and physically fought the Nazis and suffered for it physically, B, continued and continues to write about those anti-humanitarians, and C, who also became an expert and an author in the role of media, movies, radio, television, and now social media, in resisting such tyranny, or not resisting it. So, you know, the purpose of movies, the purpose of any art, is to make life better for somebody else in the minds of these moralists. You know, and have fun doing it if possible, to make life better for somebody else, somebody mistreated, somebody held down by powerful bigots or greedy users and abusers. And if that's not a humanitarian, I don't know what is. I think the room's full of you. Thank you.
My acceptance speech is going to be considerably shorter than the introduction. Thank you so much, Roger. I very much appreciate your words and your comments. And you know, if my mother were alive, I would swear she's the one who wrote that. I do want to start off by congratulating the filmmakers. Those were two excellent films. And, you know, as I watched them, I realized that I actually was there for some of what we saw. But I was very lucky. In the first 2 decades of the 20th century, our immigration laws were such that my parents were able to emigrate to the United States. And if the immigration laws had been what they were later and more recently, I wouldn't be here today. I'd probably be a pile of ashes in some foreign land. And that's one of the important parts of what we saw in those films. I very much appreciate this award that recognizes that people without power, if they are willing to try, can sometimes change policy of a country, make the world a little better. Even as I think this, and think about this reward, I cannot help but think what you must be or should be thinking. And that is, what has he done lately? And that is both the value and the tragedy of awards such as this. Prejudice and hate always lead to greater or lesser genocide. In many countries, including democratic countries, we are responsible. We elect leaders who either support or tolerate prejudice and hate. And that leads to genocide. And that's what we saw. That we still have the need to present awards as a way of educating people about the need to fight evil, attests to the continuing presence of such evil. If each of us sitting today consistently stands up against bigotry and hate and evil in any form, wherever and whenever we see it, maybe there will come a time when there is no longer an occasion or a need for such awards. we say, what can we do as individuals? You know, I'll be 96 next month, and I don't have the physical strength or emotional strength to fight the government pressures and threats as I did in 1945, directly from General Eisenhower and the U.S. Army, but I can still write. I can still speak. I can still carry a sign in protests. And I ask you all to join me to help put an end to the need for humanitarian awards. Here today, I am honored to accept this award for myself and for the memory of my late partner in helping to save the lives of Holocaust survivors, Edward Herman. And now, after I receive this award, I would like the privilege of presenting an award of my own to Eric Raddatz for his special efforts in stimulating and educating people about key issues in the world through these film festivals. Eric, give me a great pleasure if you accept one of my books, appropriate title, I think, to what you have been doing in this particular year of your film festival. It's called Hollywood Speaks Out, Pictures That Dared to Protest Real World Issues. Did you want to grab this? You did! Of course you did. Robert Hilliard, everybody! Feeling kind of emotional after that. That is unbelievable. Oh, love you. Thank you. Wow, I just don't think we could pretty much drop the mic at any future festivals and it'll never get any better than this. Thank you, Ellen Ayer, Roger Williams, and of course, Dr. Robert Hilliard for being here today. That was amazing, and I, of course, the sentiment is within this room, and I think it will continue, and I hope and I'm sure that it will. Impossible transition after that. I know you all want to go up to the rooftop to have some drinks with these legends among us, the filmmakers from all over the world, and actors and actresses, and so we're going to keep this award ceremony pretty quick, okay? Because we have some champagne up there. When does the sun set? We don't want to miss the sunset up there, do we? 8:07. Thank you, C Schulberg. Let's knock this out. Okay. We do have 7 other categories, filmmakers who've screened films at the Fort Myers Film Festival. To give away the first, to give away the first award, let's welcome up producer Melissa DeHaven.
Hi everyone, I hope you guys had an amazing time. Eric Raddatz, congratulations for another beautiful film festival. 11 years at Fort Myers Film Festival. You are amazing, our programming team is amazing. Mike up in the booth, you're amazing too. It's been wonderful. coming out, the filmmakers. You guys made your way over here. All of you guys who participated and watched a lot of our amazing films. We just thank you guys from the bottom of your hearts for coming here and your support. So I am announcing the winner for Best Short Film of the Film Festival. And we love our Monday nights. If you guys are local and you haven't been to one of our TGIM Monday nights, we do screen some of our short films that are submitted for the festival. We have an audience of judges, and it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't came out for that, make sure you guys join us in September. All right, so the winner of the Best Short Film for the 11th Annual Fort Myers Film Festival is About Francis, directed by Jordan Axelrod. Congratulations, Jordan.
Fort Myers Film Festival, Leslie. I am very surprised and pleased, and it was a great honor to be able to present this film here after, you know, we shot it in New York right before the pandemic, and we're finishing it up during, so it was kind of hard to believe that we'd actually be showing it for an audience at any point soon, you know. So real honor. The film's really close to my heart. Had a lot of family friends in it that were playing, you know, versions of themselves in this kind of fabricated world we made. The film has to do with choosing your own legacy and what's the story that you want to leave behind. And I feel like, especially in the films that you're showing today, you know, and the festival you've created, Eric, the stories you choose to tell, that's what it's all about, and what you choose to share. So elements of that resonate in this film, and if you want to seek it out, please reach out to me, and thank you again.
All right, we actually have a short category. Hey, Michael Canary, is it possible we can play this short? Okay, so to award the best short category, that's a film under 5 minutes, we have our program director, Leslie Semino. Let's give it up for Leslie.
Greetings, everyone, and I just want to take a moment to thank the team of folks who participate in the programming committee and screen all the films and rate all the films and put in a lot of energy and eyeball time to help make the festival what it is today. And if any of you are here, please stand and be acknowledged, because you really have made a big difference. I see Pat back there, I see Ron back there, I see Patrick back there. I know that Mike Conley is on the road and Tim Ritter is not in town. So, without further ado, I would like to acknowledge the winner of the short category is Hot Dog Steering Wheel, directed by Meg Favreau. Is Meg here? Okay, she may have had to leave. She is West Coast based, so we will be, but we will see her film and we will send her award to her. Thanks so much.
That was by Meg Favreau, who let us know at the Q&A that she's working on a Netflix animated series she can tell no one about, but it's coming out in 2024. So look for her work soon. Our next award is going to be an award going to our best feature film screening in the 2021 Fort Myers Film Festival. And the winner is Pulling to Paradise by director Taylor Jenkins. Sure.
Thank you, first of all, Eric, Leslie, everyone who's part of this festival, all of you who've come out, and I think I said at our opening night how meaningful festivals and audiences are to little independent filmmakers like us. And to have this after the year we've had where we've all been very much inside, to be able to come outside and be the opening night, have Phil Vassar, a great party. And my movie does celebrate connection, a lot of other existential themes, as well as friendship and unexpected friendships. And I would just say this festival has become my best friends.
That's saying a lot to be friends with her. If you haven't seen her film, you'll probably be able to see it. It'll be out of distribution in maybe a few months, several months, but in August. So look for it on Hulu and all the other streaming services. Thank you congratulations. Let's see, for our next short, let's bring up Melissa. Amy said no, she didn't want to. Okay, she didn't want to. Melissa's next, all right.
Oh, I get to do the local one. Our best Strictly Local winner. Ooh, I hear some yeses in the audience. We need like a drum roll. Drum roll? Yeah. All right, and the winner for Best Strictly Local is The Last Weekend, directed by Peter Alexander.
Thank you to Eric and Melissa and everybody at the Fort Myers Film Festival for this, and just want to say how grateful we are on behalf of myself and my team for being here. And going to festivals like this and meeting so many other filmmakers and people that have this same passion makes me realize that we shouldn't take this for granted. I don't take this for granted. Thank you.
Garth wants one shot, guys. They want to party in the rooftop, Garth. This is enough.
Hey, looking clean.
Next up is the best student film. The best student film. And the winner is Painting by Numbers by director Radhia Jagathiva. And he is not here, so we accept him on his behalf. For the next award, what about Leslie? You want to take one? Okay.
This is the award for Best Environmental Film. Hot category, hot topic. A lot of wonderful films this year, by the way. And the Best Environmental Film, I have to turn the paper over the right way, is The Wild Divide, directed by Jessica Nicole Ryan they get there, or I...
Okay, you do best doc. Maybe the best doc over here.
I think maybe the best doc, well, we'll find out any minute. Yeah. Okay. All right, folks, I get one more chance to see if I get to shake anybody's hand. You think there's something the matter with me? No. Okay, best documentary of the 11th Annual Fort Myers Film Festival is... Drum roll is The Lost Film of Nuremberg, directed by Jean-Christophe.
It's a total surprised. I even didn't know I was in the contest. But anyway, I'm very happy. From France, you know, talking French. Well, what can I say? Thank you. I'll be glad to discuss a bit more on the rooftop. Yeah, but thank you anyway for being here. And
well, this cake. Oh, yeah, and we have one more. This we had promised a cake to the film that got the most social media awards, and that cake will be presented by one Andre from Audelaise. Andre, are you here? Oh, it's on the roof. Okay, so anyway. So the winner of the best social. There's Andre. Wave to Andre. Hi, Andre. Yay! So the winner for the best social media goes to. Well, we tallied it up, and we actually determined that the most social media about the Fort Myers Film Festival online was by Tom Hall from artsoffthestory.com. So we want to award Tom Hall with this award. Give it for Tom, everybody. He wrote almost 100 stories online. So, a word, Tom.
No, thank you. This is really unexpected, and I had my own favorite for Audience Choice Award, but thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity to make so many new friends, and hopefully you'll be lifelong friends. Thank you.
And we have the cake for you, Tom. It's upstairs. You may share it with the rest, but I would encourage you not to share Andre's cakes. They are the finest. But having said that, this concludes our Fort Myers Film Festival. We will be having a rooftop party upstairs. You can take the elevator to the R, or if you're feeling ambitious, there are stairs outside. We will have music downstairs by Johnny Jensen, if you choose to stay down here for a bit, and then we'll be having a little dance party upstairs. So thanks for coming out. Fort Myers Film Festival, everybody. Good night.